Welcome back to Glowing Hour. We're your hosts, Sam and Mel.
Hello.
Hello. So we got into it a little bit last week, or in this week's episode.
We talked about setting boundaries, and one of those, or with ourselves also,
Yes.
and one of those was specifically more so about alcohol, like when
Consumption,
when we're drinking, how much we're drinking, and it just like was a larger conversation amongst our friend group right now in general. But anyway, so that's what
we're talking about. Yeah. We're talking about sobriety, sober curiosity potentially. And as you know, this is Glowing Hour, but every once in a while we have mocktails, and today is one of those days.
Yeah.
Even though we will be drinking June Shines in less than an hour, probably.
Probably 20 minutes.
But that's literally irrelevant.
Here.
That's literally irrelevant. Okay.
Yeah. When to drink and when not to drink, right? We're setting the boundary.
I said...
I'm not trying to get thrashed.
During the allotted time I'm supposed to have a drink, I'm choosing not to forgo this because I would like to have it later.
Correct.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think for me it was very clear. I mean, I've had like these moments where I'm like, okay, let me just start over. I think binge drinking is a very easy thing to fall into. I feel like I have a few friends who aren't in that category, who don't like binge drink, which is I think you and Logan. You guys have a very like healthy relationship with alcohol. But I feel like for the other, not to shade everyone else,
not to be like, and everyone else has a problem.
Y'all don't have a problem, but I have a problem. I feel like it's just like when it starts to like taste like nothing.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Not necessarily everything else
is too.
That is a problem.
But like,
for sure.
The fact that on my birthday, like we all got trashed, and then we came home, and the fact that there's no need for me to keep drinking. Mm-hmm. No need for another friend who made herself an entire cocktail to be drinking.
It was giving.
It's just giving, like, what are we doing, girl?
3 a.m. Usually this is like, all right, let's start taking off our makeup. For some reason, it was not. It was not. Like, let's actually deep dive into our life's problems. And
let's have another round, girlies.
And keep the music going loud.
Yes.
Keep it going loudly. I don't know what
was up with us screaming at each other, like, because it's so loud, like.
Mm-hmm. And then Logan said, I think we should turn it down now. And I wasn't in this room. This room is where the music was the loudest, and I'm wondering what the neighbors were thinking, because it was like as loud as when we were pre-gaming. Yeah. And I wasn't really thinking much because I was invested in the story that I was being told.
And also someone was sleeping on this couch.
Right, and someone was asleep. It was getting chaotic. Like, what happened there?
It was just a lot.
We're all on very different wavelengths, I believe.
Yeah. I think, like, of course it's fun to have a fun time and like get a little bit crazy sometimes, whatever. I think this round of things, I was like, I can't do it this hard anymore. Like, that's
the next day, or in the moment, you think you also were like,
I think that too, because I was throwing up. I threw up. Right. Hid it from everybody, but I threw up.
I forgot. Yeah.
Well, while we were out. I didn't.
Well,
hide it so well.
I didn't know. But you didn't hide it well from the person you were with.
Just like after the fact though too, it's just, it never felt good, but like it especially doesn't feel good these days. Like there's just, it takes too much of my future self. It takes too much out of like my future self to deal with.
And even present you, even though you don't remember, you feel like it wasn't even, not necessarily not a good time, but
yeah,
it wasn't what you maybe would have wanted if had you been sober.
Correct.
Like you would have, at least if you were drunk and having fun, you'd be like, period. But you were throwing up and you're like, that's not fun. Yeah.
So yeah,
you sat down and had a convo with yourself.
I did. I said, we can't do it like this anymore, girl. Like, it's not fun. It's not fun for anyone anymore, you know?
I think I've like leaned into like sober curiosity a lot, just because it's been such a like hot topic for everybody in our generation, I think.
Yeah.
Like I've always thought, like, I wonder what that would be like to be actually sober. I don't think I have like the healthiest relationship with alcohol like ever or whatever. Like there's people who don't drink, and I think that's probably the healthiest relationship with alcohol. Yeah. Honestly, not drinking is probably the best thing you could do. And I like having a little drink, so sue me. But even like feeling though I have like a grip on my consumption of alcohol or whatever, I still am like curious like what it would be like to go out and be like, I don't need a drink. Like, would I want to go out? Like, is the part of going out, I think
that's
drinking.
what I'm fearful of too.
I don't think
it is. Yeah,
I don't think that's the fun part. The fun part is dancing with your friends.
No, you're right.
And the not fun part is when someone gets too drunk
and you have to go home.
And you have to go home.
You can't dance anymore.
Or you can't even decide to go home when you want to because something else is the reason why, or whatever.
It definitely is that. Because I remember like when we went out that one night when we were just dancing, I don't think any of us got even like remotely too drunk or anything. Like I feel like one drink, and I think that was like a really perfect time. I think that's when I have like the most fun, when it's like one is good to like get loose, have something to sip on, have a cute little moment, and then that is all. You go home, you go to bed, and you're not hungover the next day.
It's the like, for some reason, feeling like because there's a bottle in front of me, we need more shots. And like
that part.
And like because we're celebrating something, that means we need to take shots. It's like, why did we decide that?
Who decided that, actually?
And like I get it. There is definitely a community in drinking, and that's why I think it's so normalized, maybe, like, because most people do drink, that it's just like, it's normal. Like, that's what we do. We take shots, we get plastered, we pregame, like, and if you're not part of that community, it feels excluding. But I was thinking about, like, Jacqueline Hill or whatever. She went sober recently. If you guys don't know, she's a beauty YouTuber, and she's like talked about her journey of going sober. And she was sober for a long time for specific like alcohol abuse reason. She was like, I want to go sober, and then she started drinking again. And then I think she decided this just isn't good for me. Yeah. So anyway, she was talking about how she felt like anxious at first about going to social things that required drinking, or not required, but involved drinking. And she was like, actually, I just went to whatever it was, like a birthday party, and it was so comforting to know that everyone around me was drunk and didn't care how they looked or didn't care how I looked. And I could still like lean into my inner child, or like the silly goofy side that I usually need to be drunk to let out. But because other people are drunk,
it's like they're doing the work for you to feel comfortable in that case. That's true.
And I'm like, that's an interesting take. Like, obviously if you're all sober, that's not gonna work like that, but even then, I mean, if you're all sober, you're all on the same page of like, fuck it, I guess. Hopefully. I don't know.
I think it requires like a certain level of not giving a fuck about like how you, because I feel like you can blame the alcohol for
looking stupid.
So when you don't have that, like, you just have to like not give a like, if you actually want to be, not to look even like not looking stupid, but just like being loose and having a good time, and maybe going outside of like the norm of what you really like, how you usually are,
like dancing, for example. Like,
like
you'd be like, oh, I was just so drunk, I don't even remember that.
The
excuse people use of like, I blacked out, I don't remember. And it's like, it's not gonna carry you across your entire life being like, oh, I forgot, I don't remember that.
It's like, girl, just dance.
I genuinely don't think alcohol makes those moments.
No,
but it feels like it does, because that's what we grew up doing. Drinking to socially interact. I also and I think that's the big piece now, is like, after that night I felt like, oh yeah, that's definitely like not how I view the fun anymore, I guess. It's like, you value different things in terms of trying to remember a night out,
right?
Because like, we still could have gone out. It's just like, that night was so like, we're specifically talking about just this night that we went out, which before we go out, we're like, we're going out tomorrow. Like, we're so excited.
It's like the prep for the actual thing.
No, getting ready to go out is
more fun than going out.
Yes. But we literally didn't make it out of the house until like midnight. And we should have, as a group, collectively said like, all right, late, girls, maybe let's just get lit here. But that does feel like a almost like a punch in the gut when you tell a group that, like, we're not going somewhere, even though we had planned all day to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Especially a drunk group of us to be like, what?
Yeah.
We're not going? I think it would have been hard. And I didn't even, like, I think we all, like, had maybe in the back of our heads, like, maybe we shouldn't.
Like, this was fun. This is fun as is.
But then we're like, but no, it's your birthday. We're going out. You know what I mean? Like, it was like the plot of it and, like, the purpose, I guess, of celebrating.
Right.
Yeah. Drinking, man. So
I feel sorry. I
No,
feel
go
like
ahead.
the conversation about like setting the boundary is just it's interesting with alcohol, at least for me, because I'm not like, both of us are not like types of people where like we're having alcohol to
suppress something
or like we're not doing it on a daily basis. Like it's a different aspect of things. It's more of like setting the boundary because of how we want to now be living life after the night out, you know?
Yeah. I was gonna say, of like in more recent years, I think post-COVID, which like post-COVID, whatever that means, but like the world now post like being locked in our houses and stuff, like drinking was so like, oh, that's what we're all doing, because it's just like I've like made a more conscious effort to not have a drink necessarily, but like it was also in a different relationship during that time where drinking was super normalized, and I just feel like I don't drink as much during the week as I did then, which like now is like when I'm going out with my friends or like we're going to get a drink to go somewhere, or I have dinner with my family and we all get a margarita or whatever. And it's also like, if I'm like, oh, I want to take a bath and a glass of wine sounds good, I'm usually like, I don't really need it though.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't, like, genuinely, what is that gonna do for me? Like, yes, the flavor of wine for sure, like there's things that are appealing, but then I'm like, but what do I want to do when I get out of the bath? I want to just like go to bed. It's like,
yeah, so it's like, what is
like
that?
for me, it's not giving anymore. Sure, sometimes like if I had a really stressful day, I'm like, okay, or whatever, but I think it's like comes back to like frequency, like not necessarily just how much you're drinking, like we're saying, like the binge or like just having a like ton to get fucked up. It's also like the frequency of like drinking. Like, sure, one drink every day, you're not getting drunk every day, but
also what's the purpose of it?
Yeah. And most of the times I tell myself like it's not worth it to have, because it is poison to your body.
Yeah, like, that's the part that I think,
not
like,
that sugar isn't, and
right,
you know,
but it's like it actually, like, that is the purpose. Like, that's why you feel so aloof and like fun or like whatever the fuck.
Yeah, relax.
It's because your body is going into fight. Like, it's literally trying to fight poison off. So it's like that's the piece that I think we all forget. It's like we're literally, yes, it's one glass of wine, like, but you're like poisoning yourself low key.
That's how I kind of think of it. And I don't think I have an unhealthy relationship. Like, I'm never like, after your birthday, I wasn't like, oh my God, I feel so guilty. Like, I took a lot of drinks compared to the one glass of wine I tell myself I don't need on a weekday. It's like, maybe that's also unhealthy to be like, well, I'm saving it for the times that I'm going to go crazy.
And that's how I think,
yeah,
you know, that's the binge drinking part that I'm talking about.
Yeah. You're like, well, I don't drink a lot, so when I do it once, I'm going to go crazy or whatever.
Yeah. But I also didn't go into that night thinking I was going to go crazy. And then I did.
It's like, I think for some people when they drink, like the mentality does genuinely switch. Like in their own heads, they're like, nah, not like a different person, but like I'm on a different mode.
No, I always say like fucking drinking alcohol. You're like, they're called spirits for a fucking reason.
Your alter ego, the spirit.
I literally think like spirits come into you. Like you're consuming spirits, and it's like still you, but it's like a thing attached to you, speaking as you.
Wow.
And
I have not heard that take. That's interesting.
Me.
It is spooky,
especially when you get like to an intoxicated place where you're like this,
like you feel separate from you.
Yeah,
you're
like,
just like, oh,
when you're
I'm
to brown
consciously
out,
awake, but I'm not here.
The spirit's there. It took over the body.
Do you think you're easier to possess when you're drunk?
Yes,
it's crazy.
Absolutely.
I don't think anyone's been possessed while drunk though. They should make a movie about that. Maybe that's what your short film's
My short film.
No, I'm
oh,
dead. That
a relationship with alcohol, and it's a metaphor.
It's the whole thing's a metaphor, but it's a spooky one. Like it's kind of a thriller.
Oh,
A thriller, but then it turns out to be funny in the end or something. Not funny, but like oh, that's real.
Right.
Like it wasn't scary all along. It was
It's
me
just
fighting my
real.
demons.
It's just like the Babadook. Have you seen that one?
I haven't.
Oh, you should watch it.
Sounds scary.
It is scary. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's fucking terrifying.
Oh, perfect. I love
But it's
scary.
like a metaphor. Like the actual like
Creature.
spooky creature thing is just a metaphor for like mental health.
Tea.
It's good.
Sounds like it's kind of scarier that it's real like that.
Right.
Anyways,
Anyway.
yeah, I think the excuse of like I'm
saving it for
I'm
the
saving
weekend.
it for whatever, or us right now, like
Literally.
oh, we're having a mocktail so we can drink fucking however many June shines. And my goal, I think, going into like, for me anyways, drinking, like my goal is never like I want to get fucking trashed, which I don't know if anyone's goal is to get fucking
some people's
trashed.
goal is that.
Okay, T, well, good luck to you, brother.
No, I remember having, I think it's mostly men. They're like, let's get blackout tonight. I'm like, why would you
desire that?
Why would you want to get blackout? Like, it's no fun. You
No,
don't even
sorry.
remember it.
And like the desire to have like I'm a control freak. The desire to have no control over myself is just not there.
See, like, that's me. But then
you get there.
but then I get there. And then the next day is just, it's like a shame over. Like,
Yeah.
anxiety's high.
Because you're scared of what you might have done to embarrass yourself.
Correct. That's heavy on what I felt on my birthday, which is awful.
I don't know if I just like my body physically processes alcohol differently, like just better.
Just like,
because
yeah.
I feel like I do drink like a pretty
drink
good
a
amount.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. Dude, people were handing me drinks and I was drinking them. So like I had 2 drinks out. We probably had like 3 shots here. That's already 5 drinks. Like I should have been toasted. I wasn't. I mean, I was drunk. Like, I'm not going to drive a car or anything.
Yeah.
But, like, I wasn't, like I didn't black out.
I've never seen you, like, toasted or blacked out.
Oh, I've been there.
When?
I can get there. I know that much. Like,
When
my
did
body
you get
isn't
that
that
way?
good. With ex-boyfriends. And then I would be throwing up.
Mm.
It was only once. His friend gave me a shooter and I took it. Yeah. And I was drinking, like, slushy drink. Like, it was not good.
It's the sugar and the alcohol together. That'll
mixing Jaeger bombs. Like, what's going on here?
No.
Yeah.
Triggered.
Yeah, I've Victoria at her birthday one year I was
Wasted.
couldn't get off the floor in the bathroom. So
Yeah.
I've been there. I think I've become very well acquainted to my limit. Like I meet her and I'm like, oh, it's so good to see you. You're right. Let's put them all down. Let's put the alcohol
nice.
down.
Mine says another one.
You,
And I'm like,
you meet her and she says, let's get fucked up.
literally, she's a fucking demon, dude. I need to switch her out. I don't know how to do
Switch her out like the
She needs
hormone
to get
monsters.
fired.
Well, you're about to fire her ass.
This is her letter of resignation.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye to the altar ego.
Or even like for me, like it's not, how to explain this, like tipsy and drunk are the same thing until I get plastered.
Okay.
And the one drink over, once I hit the one drink over,
You're done. Well, like
it's like
you're done.
You're done.
Yeah, not like
Not you're done, but
Yeah.
like you're done,
yeah,
girl.
girl, you're toast.
And then that's when the switch over of like
The demon.
let's have another one.
Yeah, then you're like, we're done though.
I'm like, but I was girl, we're done. Yeah.
I see. So you don't even like feel the switch of like buzz to tipsy to drunk.
No, like tipsy and drunk feels like the same for me. Should I just like
But
one
a
day
buzz
have
is different?
Just like a bunch of shots and like
And figure it out.
Figure it out.
Like 1 shot per hour. But it takes 1 hour to process a shot, right?
I think that's a myth also. I think it takes longer is what people say.
It's
Depending on
one
your body.
drink, sorry. Which depending on the drink. Like if it's a fucking White Claw.
Right.
Shits out of your system in probably 25 minutes.
25 minutes. Quick girly pop.
Go drink a water and go to pee. Go pee.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had that conversation with
Yeah.
my therapist once where like, and she's like, well, maybe it's not like how much you're drinking, but like also what is the prep situation? And I'm like
hydration, food.
yeah, definitely that day I was not hydrated. And that's what happens usually for me is like when I get thrashed like that, it's because I did not eat enough. I am not drinking enough water that day. And that's the other part of the boundary setting of like, if you're going to have a day of drinking,
you have to take care of yourself.
To prep yourself, because that's not right. You're not young anymore where you're not going to feel like
there's no like control you can have over other people and their choices or whatever. Which used to drive me insane about exes and like wanting to control how much they drank. But like when I sat down and reflected, it was like, no, babe, you just don't want to be with them.
Yeah.
And also because you don't like how much they drink. Like that's part of it. But
that's so interesting, because I feel like in my past relationships, that was the role I took, like being upset about their drinking. And then like I feel like because I didn't have to have the control of them anymore, I was able to then let loose. And that maybe that's why I don't know my limits too much, is because I had to take care of other people.
Crazy. So you like back then with ex-boyfriends, you weren't ever like getting drunk because you'd get mad and stop and then be like, now I have to fucking that was your limit. Their limit. Once they hit their limit, you're like, well, I guess I'm done because I have to get myself home. Interesting.
Unless like I wasn't out with him, then it was.
Then you got trashed.
I got trashed. But I
got trashed.
But like I was all. I don't know. I was young.
I was young and beautiful and free. What can I say?
Somehow I always got home. So, or like stayed at a friend's. So
yeah. Oh, those were the times. But these are the times.
But these are the times. And yeah,
I think being conscious of where you're at and like what you want to do is like the biggest first part of like setting a boundary with yourself, and then deciding what that actual boundary looks like, I think is very dicey, and it can take a long time to figure out what works for you and your lifestyle, because you could go a year of being like, I'm only gonna have 2 drinks a month or something, like I don't know, whatever, you just set a specific thing, and then in 2 years from now you're like, why'd I ever do that? Like now I want to have as many drinks as I want, and you're fine, and like you hit your limit and you're like, I'm good, or whatever, you feel like you have a healthy relationship again. Or you'd be like, I'm gonna go completely sober or whatever. Like there's everything's a journey.
I think that's definitely important. I feel like I've gone through the pieces of what you just said of like either having a certain amount of drinks, or like then getting to a place of like, oh yeah, I know my limit. Like I said, I think it was like more so the not eating piece for me when I look back at it, the prepping. But it's also like the larger conversation of like what we're talking about of like, what is the purpose of the drink? Or like, is it to socialize? Is it to go dancing? Like those things can happen without the actual alcohol. So it's like, I think that's the part of the relationship I'm at with it now.
Oh, I don't know if that's going to make like an unhealthy relationship, because I'm like, if I did this with food, that would be fucking insane. But like each drink you have or order or contemplate, you like not give it a reason per se, but just check in with yourself maybe. Like,
the thing is like the amount isn't the problem. Well, I guess like it is, but that's not what I'm saying. Like I'm saying like just even like, I feel like every activity as an adult lately has been like, it's attached to alcohol at some point. And it's like, why does everything have to have alcohol in it for it to be like a fun adult thing to be doing? That's more so the piece.
So you're thinking, I need to have a drink at all of these events?
Yeah, that's maybe like just the relationship I'm taking of like, what can we replace, or like why is this attached to that? I guess I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it like the first time I probably in my adult drinking life had like an event and didn't drink at it. It was so interesting. And I didn't drink because I had a sore throat. And I was like, why would I do that to myself? Like, yes, I've been anticipating this party and like planning it and it's gonna be so fun or whatever, but like I'm gonna make myself feel worse by drinking. And I was like, all right, whatever, I won't. And I feel like I had basically the same amount of fun that I would have had I had more drinks. So sometimes you just have to like sit with it and be like, there was no reason to do that, or okay, fine, maybe I'll have a drink, or like, I don't know, it's the boundaries part of like, some people are like, my boundaries, I'm sober and I'm not drinking at all. And then other people be like, well, if we're celebrating and if it's going to be like we're all taking a shot together, then okay, I'll take a shot with everyone, or whatever.
Yeah, I it just started to feel like everything, and maybe it's just because like it's very celebratory right now, and there was a lot of people in town and things like that, so it's like everything has like that kind of attachment to it, like with alcohol. So like going to the movies, it's like everyone want to grab a drink like before or at the movie
have a
theater,
tall can.
and it's like, why are we
Whatever.
drinking at the movies? Like, why do we need to do that?
Yeah, unless it was like Magic Mike or something, I could see the appeal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. But like, it's like, why does that have to happen? And then it's like, or even like when I think about like smaller situations of like paint and sip, like why does it have to be
with alcohol?
With alcohol, like why can't we just have a crafty night? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
we could
why?
do paint and sip mocktails.
That's what I mean.
Whatever.
Like one time I did that for Logan. I did hot chocolate. So it's like, again, but like it's just like taking like, I feel like adults, like all the fun is like it's centered around alcohol, and it's like, let's like debunk that a little, or like just like reframe it, think about it a little bit harder, because
I agree.
I don't know, that's like the place I'm at right now. Like even when we went to Disneyland
recently, or with me, or all of
both,
them, I guess. Yeah,
like I was just like, where does the drink have to happen, and why does it have to happen? Like,
we didn't drink, right? Yeah, I mean, sometimes it fits in
and sometimes it doesn't,
and I will say, when I had a drink on my or multiple drinks or whatever the fuck we did at Disneyland 2 years ago, I did not feel good at the end of the day. And I think it was a combination of tequila, dehydration, and moving on rides. So was it a win? No. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
or like, you know, like going to your kids' sporting events and having a drink.
I don't understand that, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
Like, on one hand, I could see like an all-day tournament maybe, and like you have a whatever, I don't know, a June shine, like having a June shine, and you're never getting in the car to drive anywhere, and it's for fucking 12 hours. You're not going to be drunk. You're just going to have a drink, whatever. I can see that. But also every tournament, or also like getting drunk, because it's like you're around a bunch of kids who might need your help and need the adult to drive somewhere important, which I think you become way more conscious of once you have kids, or around kids. It's like, whoa, someone's got to be sober just in case. And obviously not always is that the case. Like if you're having a couple glasses of wine at home and obviously you're with kids or whatever, it's like, I mean, we're kind of fucked.
Call the ambulance,
right? Like we kind of fucked, but
yeah. No, but I agree. I feel like that's another thing. It's like, why is it inserted into that? Like, why is alcohol inserted into a fucking children's tournament?
Because people are bored and can't be bored with their thoughts or socialize with other parents without alcohol.
And that's the part.
That's the root of why they're having a drink, or the base and community of having a drink is also part of it. Which who's to say whether the community aspect is wrong or right? Because kind of from Mexican households, you know, it's like I get it. I get the community of it all, but boundaries are important, and that's all we're saying.
That's all we're saying here.
So up to you and your boundaries.
Take a look at how much you're consuming or where you're consuming. I think more so the where, just like
where and why.
Is it making sense for you? Like if it isn't, stop doing it. You know.
Us drinking for this Billy concert, I could not. But I probably
I probably shouldn't due to my throat.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
It's kombucha.
Right. Girl.
I mean, I could do without it if everyone was like, "Oh, no, it's fine." Like, okay.
Yeah, but because it was suggested, I'm like, I'm down. I'm not like fiending, but I think it'll be fun.
It'll be fun, and
we're not gonna get trashed. We're gonna, what do we get? 1 pack? Maybe they got two. I don't know what they bought, but one.
No, I think like a pack has like 8, so I think that's perfect. 2 for per person. Anyway,
just thinking about it consciously, setting a boundary with yourself. Like for example, we could be like, we're only having 2, and when we get to the venue, we're not doing any more. Like, you know, etc. Just knowing what your limit is.
Know your limits, queens.
If you need to set those before you start drinking, then so be it. Because sometimes drinking mind is like, drink more.
My demon. If she's at your house too, kick her out. She forces her way in.
She's feral.
Feral
for alcohol. She'll do anything.
The worst part is that she'll make other people do things as
She
well.
does. She does get other people in on it.
It's so rude.
She's crazy. Good story.
Good story here. Not me being like, and if you want to join our tournament.
We also will be hosting an entirely alcohol-based event. We make it a mocktail event.
Katie would be pissed.
I'm like, Katie, we're actually sober.
Katie, we're sober these days.
Oh,
But anyway, that is all, guys. We'll catch you guys in next week's episode. If you haven't rated the podcast yet, please go ahead and do that.
Yes.
Give us a little review if you can. I know that takes some time, so if you have, we appreciate it. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and yeah, just keep coming back for more, everyone.
Lots of episodes, lots of hours of us talking.
Yes.
We got you.
All right, that's it for today. We're gonna go see Billy.